hybrid training, weightlifting and running. Running and weightlifting. Maybe two other sports, but the way I think about it and the way I do it is weightlifting and running. I used to hate running. Now, I love it. Now, kind of made it my personality. But when I say I used to hate running, I used to hate running. In middle school, when they would make us run around the track or something like that, it always felt like a punishment. So I would protest because I was never good at it. Okay, I was good at it when I was a kid. I used to love running on the beach and the Flash was my favorite superhero. But there was a long stretch of time there, middle school, high school, most of university, where I hated it. Like, you could not have paid me to go running. It didn't make sense to me. Like, why would you get up and do something willingly that's just painful and makes your lungs burn? And I tried doing it, but my legs would be on fire and my lungs would be on fire, and I tried getting into it. I did. I wasn't very consistent, potentially. I had no idea what I was doing. So, I've been weightlifting since 2017. I got serious with it in 2018. COVID, I stopped. That's a story for another video. Long story short, I've been weightlifting on and off, mostly on, since 2017, 2018. The past, what year is it? The past year and a half, I've been back at it. In 2018, this would have been my first year of undergrad. I was going to the gym 4 times a week, sometimes 5 times. I generally followed a push-pull leg split over 4 days. And the trick is to do push-pull and then skip legs. I would just fit in legs on the push and pull days. And beyond walking from my dorm to the gym and the occasional game of basketball with some friends, I wasn't doing cardio. I was really into cycling for several years before that. It's just when I got into weightlifting, I got into it mostly for self-esteem reasons and secondarily health reasons. It was mostly to gain more confidence in myself, and it kind of consumed me at the time. So I zeroed all in on it, and I got fairly good at it, but it wasn't very balanced. I knew I should have been doing consistent cardiovascular activity, but I wasn't. It was hard to make time for it. I got stuck in kind of a training rut, and if you've spent any amount of time in the gym, I'm sure you can relate to that. I was essentially mostly only focusing on aesthetics. And that's still important to me, but I've now become more performance and secondarily aesthetics focused. But performance definitely comes first. Performance physically, but that also includes my mental health and how I'm relating to the exercise I'm doing, so that it's not just something I'm doing to look a certain way. That does help, obviously, with how you feel about yourself. It did for me, but it's not everything. It doesn't solve everything. I was kind of stuck in a training rut when I was very serious about weightlifting only. And I really think that the onslaught of information on the internet, just the amount of different fitness information and different opinions, there's just a lot of noise. There's also a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of good information out there too, but it's a lot. And I guess I'm adding to it by talking about this. But all that information about the most optimal way to build muscle and cardio will kill your gains. If you run, then your pecs are gonna melt. Like, it can be kind of confusing, all of that. I'm now seeing that it's more nuanced than that. It's also just not as complicated. Like, if you eat enough protein and you do cardio and lift weights, like, your muscles aren't gonna magically disappear overnight. Obviously, if you're trying to be the biggest, baddest bodybuilder, then running, doing cardio isn't going to help you. Like, your muscles aren't gonna be as big as they potentially could be. But so much of that bodybuilding influence is present in the fitness community online. It kind of just takes over. It becomes like the only kind of perspective that you start seeing when you start looking into how to incorporate different kinds of training and everything. And I still kind of have this mindset. In some ways, I do think it's beneficial. Like eating a lot of protein on a daily basis is really good for you. And it's great to preserve your muscle mass. I probably don't hit my protein goals every day, even though I'm trying to. I really started thinking about this after COVID. COVID was a very difficult time for me, for a lot of people too. And I had really begun to have a mindset shift with everything going on with COVID, with my family, this transition period going from undergrad to my master's degree. And I started really reflecting on the potential of my body, the potential of my mind, and not wanting to just limit myself in a way to strictly weightlifting.
Yo,
Okay, I just woke up. I do not look awake. I'm gonna run to work, and the sunrise looks really nice, so I wanted to show you. Running had always seemed like this thing that was kind of out of reach for me because I was never good at it naturally, and I would try it and it was always hard for me, and I didn't see how people could like it, but I really wanted to like it because it just seemed so convenient. Like, you travel somewhere and like you just take your running shoes, you can go on a run. I think Jeff Cunningham said, like, if you have 2 lungs and 2 legs, like, let's do this thing, and like you can go run basically. And I thought, okay, let me just try this. Let me just try it for a week and actually get into it and be consistent and apply my gym mentality to running, because I had been able to be super consistent with the gym and take it seriously and dial in my nutrition as best as I could. I decided to just go for it. And as I became more and more consistent with it, I just tried to go 3 times a week, run 2 kilometers without stopping, and I was doing a bit of running and then walking, and then slowly but surely and consistently I was able to build up that volume, and then I was running 2 kilometers, and then I was running 3 kilometers, and then I hit 5 kilometers, and I was so proud of myself. I remember I wrote it down in my phone, I texted my sister, I was really excited. And what was additionally really cool was that I came to appreciate lifting weights even more and running even more, because I wouldn't get bored of one or the other. And there were definitely times where I would get bored of just lifting weights when I was just lifting weights. It's like it made weightlifting kind of new again, and running was just super exciting, and this new hobby that I got to delve into. Within 2 weeks of running consistently, or just running 3 times a week, I was already hooked on it. So I'm really, really glad I actually took that first step and tried it out. I feel like my mentality in the gym and my experience in the gym ended up helping me with running and getting used to it. Certainly getting better at running and developing mental fortitude has helped me in the gym, because something that I learned while getting better at running and increasing my volume is that it's such a mental game. It's such a mental sport. And I know Andrew Huberman will say it's 100% neurological, and I get that, sure, as best as I can from a scientific standpoint. For the sake of conversation, it is such a mental game. Obviously, it's physically strenuous, and you have to be strong and endurant in order to run like great distances and everything. But the mental fortitude of pushing yourself when your legs don't want to run, or when you're tired, when it hurts, when you don't feel like it, getting up out of bed when it's dark and cold out, putting on your running shoes and going outside and running around. It's a lot of mental strength that you develop over time when you do it consistently over days and weeks, months, years. And that's something that I learned by doing it. Continuing to push, continuing to run when my feet didn't feel like it. What was hard for me at the time might not be hard for me now. Like, at the time, I could have been in the 3rd kilometer and my feet wanted to give out and I was tired and my lungs were burning, but I kept pushing. And that might not sound like a lot to you if you're watching, or maybe it sounds like insurmountable, because for me at the time it was really difficult. Now running 3 kilometers for me is a warm-up, but that's a year and a half later. And at the time when I was just starting and it was just all new stimulus and my body was like, why are you doing this to us? It was really difficult, and pushing through built up that mental fortitude that then powered me even more in the gym.
Feeling pretty good. My stomach's kind of wrecked, but that's okay.
I just came to realize by doing hard stuff like running or just lifting weights and then bringing learnings from one and putting them into the other, that a lot of these physical barriers were about pushing myself mentally and just not giving in to my brain telling me to stop. And I'm not saying push through injury and hurt yourself, but there's a lot of instances where we're able to overcome. I'm just really looking forward to how far I can push myself using that mental fortitude that I'm still working on, that I'm continuing to develop. And that in of itself has helped me appreciate exercise and fitness in a much more holistic way. Not just seeing weightlifting as something purely for aesthetics, as I was saying, but something that can really help your body be stronger and allow you to continue doing the things you love. And I could have gone my entire life without knowing how much I love it if I had just stayed in my weight training tunnel. This is not a diss on weightlifting. I love weightlifting. I love getting in the gym. So there's a lot of information out there, but if you're into weightlifting like I was and you're interested in developing more of a holistic kind of fitness, then give it a try. I feel better and fitter than I did when I was just weightlifting, beyond just trying running, it's really worth trying new things, because otherwise you might miss out on something that you love and that you wouldn't have known about if you hadn't gone and tried it and actually given it a shot consistently.
I need a better system.
So I'm editing this video and I remembered I wanted to give 3 song recommendations for the gym, so here they are. Alright, I'm gonna cut it there for now. If you stuck around this far, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Peace.